Be prepared. Tomorrow marks a turning point that most people have been building toward for 6 years without even realizing it. And if you've been feeling like you're on the edge of something massive, like all the struggle and discipline you've endured is finally about to crystallize into something real, you're not imagining it. This isn't just another planetary alignment. This isn't some fleeting cosmic moment that comes and goes. What's happening on Saturday, March 28th, is the universe's way of saying, your time is here. But here's the thing most people don't understand. This isn't about luck. It's not about manifestation or positive thinking or vision boards. This is about the cold, hard reality of structural rewards, the kind that only come after years of relentless effort, the kind that can't be faked or rushed or bypassed. And if you've been experiencing strange moments where you suddenly feel this unshakable confidence, this knowing that you're finally ready for what's next, keep watching. Because there's one specific reason why this is happening to you right now, and I'll explain it later. But first, you need to understand what's been building since 2020. The 6-year journey nobody talks about. Let me take you back to January 12, 2020. Most people remember that year for obvious reasons. The pandemic, the lockdowns, the complete upheaval of normal life. But what they don't realize is that on that exact day, something else happened in the sky. Saturn and Pluto came together at 22 degrees Capricorn in a conjunction so rare, so heavy, that astrologers had been warning about it for years. That conjunction wasn't just a moment, it was a seeding, the planting of a cycle that would unfold over decades. And if your life fell apart in 2020, if structures you thought were solid crumbled overnight, if you found yourself forced to rebuild from the ground up, that wasn't random. That was the universe clearing the foundation so you could build something real. For 6 years, you've been in the construction phase, the grinding, exhausting, often invisible work of putting yourself back together. Some of you lost jobs, relationships, identities. Others faced deep psychological reckonings, confronting parts of yourselves you'd buried for years, and all of it, every single moment of struggle, has been preparing you for what's about to happen. Because tomorrow, March 28th, Saturn and Pluto make their first major exact alignment since that 20-20 conjunction. And this time, they're not colliding, they're cooperating. This is a sextile, a 60-degree angle that represents the first constructive, harmonious integration of all that heavy energy you've been carrying. The seeds planted in darkness 6 years ago, they're finally breaking through the soil, and what's emerging isn't fragile, it's forged. But first, you had to pass the test. Most people are so focused on March 28th that they completely missed what happened 3 days ago. March 25th was the setup, the cosmic stress test that determined whether you're actually ready for what's coming. At 5 in the morning, the Sun formed an exact conjunction with Saturn at 4 degrees Aries. In traditional astrology, this is called the Day of Challenges. The Sun represents your ego, your vitality, your core sense of self. Saturn represents limitation, authority, the harsh reality principle. When these two meet, it's like standing in front of a mirror that shows you exactly where you've been cutting corners, where you've been avoiding responsibility, where your plans are built on fantasy rather than foundation. Some of you felt this as a sudden wave of exhaustion. Others experienced it as a harsh reality check, a moment where everything felt heavier, harder, more daunting than it should. But here's what nobody tells you, that heaviness wasn't a punishment, it was a calibration. The universe was asking you one simple question: are you still committed? Are you still willing to do the work even when the work feels impossible? Because just 10 hours later, at 2:15 in the afternoon, the Sun reached 5 degrees Aries and formed a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And if you pushed through that morning's heaviness, if you faced the Saturn reality check without flinching, this is when you felt the shift. Suddenly, that burden didn't feel so crushing. Suddenly, you could see the path forward. Suddenly, you realized that all the discipline, all the structure, all the grinding effort you've been putting in, it's been building power, real, undeniable, transformative power. That's what the Sun-Pluto sextile revealed. The struggles aren't weakening you, they're weaponizing you. What your hard work is about to pay off really means. Let me be brutally honest with you. When most people hear your hard work is about to pay off, they think lottery ticket. They think sudden windfall. They think the universe is finally going to hand them success on a silver platter because they've suffered enough. That's not how Saturn and Pluto work. Saturn and Pluto are the two most austere, uncompromising planetary forces in the entire zodiac. They don't do handouts. They don't do participation trophies. They don't care about your feelings or your timeline or your vision board. What they care about is integrity, structural integrity, the kind that can only be built through sustained, unglamorous, relentless effort. So when Saturn in Aries forms a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius on March 28th, the payoff isn't money falling from the sky. It's not a relationship magically fixing itself. It's not external validation or recognition or applause. The payoff is competence. It's the visceral cellular realization that you are no longer the person who started this journey 6 years ago. It's the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you've done the work, you've faced the darkness, and you're still standing. It's waking up one morning and realizing that the thing that used to terrify you, public speaking, starting a business, setting boundaries, being alone, doesn't scare you anymore. Not because it got easier, but because you got stronger. That's the Saturn-Pluto reward, and trust me, it's worth infinitely more than any external prize. The signs you've been building toward this. You've already been feeling it, haven't you? These subtle but undeniable shifts that have been accelerating over the past few weeks. Let me describe them, and you tell me how many resonate. You've stopped tolerating what you used to accept. Conversations that used to feel normal now feel draining. People who used to have access to your energy suddenly feel like intruders. Situations you used to navigate with patience now trigger an immediate, non-negotiable no. This isn't you becoming bitter or antisocial. This is your boundaries finally crystallizing into something real. You've been making decisions faster. Things that used to require weeks of deliberation now feel obvious within minutes. You're not second-guessing yourself as much. You're not polling your friends for their opinions. You're trusting your own judgment in a way you never have before. This is Saturn in Aries teaching you sovereign decision-making. Your tolerance for chaos has dropped to zero. Drama, gossip, manufactured urgency, other people's emotional spirals, it all feels like noise now. You're not interested in being the therapist, the mediator, the emotional support system for people who refuse to help themselves. This isn't coldness, this is discernment. You've been feeling weirdly calm about the future, even though logically you might not have everything figured out. There's this underlying sense of, I've got this. It's not arrogance, it's not delusion. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've survived worse and come out stronger. And here's the big one. The experience I mentioned at the beginning. You've been having moments where you feel impossibly powerful. Out of nowhere, for just a few seconds or minutes, you feel this surge of absolute certainty. Like you could do anything. Like the universe itself is backing you. Like all the puzzle pieces are finally clicking into place. That feeling, that's not your imagination. That's Pluto in Aquarius pulsing through you, giving you glimpses of the power you've been building this entire time. March 28th, when the foundation locks. Here's what makes tomorrow so different from every other day you've been grinding through. The sextile between Saturn and Pluto perfects at exactly 5 degrees Aries and 5 degrees Aquarius at 6:10 in the evening. This is the moment when 6 years of effort solidifies. Think of it like pouring concrete. You can mix the ingredients, you can pour the foundation, but for weeks it's still wet, still vulnerable, still shapeable. And then one day, it sets, it hardens, it becomes permanent. That's what's happening tomorrow. The work you've been doing, the boundaries you've set, the skills you've developed, the psychological rewiring you've endured, it's locking in. It's becoming part of your permanent structure. And here's the wild part. You might not even notice it happening. This isn't a lightning bolt moment. This isn't a dramatic revelation. For most of you, it will feel like nothing. And then, days or weeks later, you'll look back and realize something fundamental shifted. Maybe you'll notice it when someone tries to manipulate you the way they used to, and it just doesn't work anymore. Maybe you'll notice it when an opportunity appears and you move toward it without the usual fear or hesitation. Maybe you'll notice it when you look in the mirror and barely recognize the version of yourself staring back. The old you, the one who started this journey in 2020, scared and shattered and unsure, that version is gone. And what's replaced it isn't perfect, isn't finished, but it's real. It's forged, it's tested, it's ready. The invisible rewards you're about to recognize. This is where most people miss the entire point of this transit. They're looking for external validation, the promotion, the relationship, the financial breakthrough. And sure, those things might come, but they're not the real reward. The real reward is internal sovereignty. Let me break down what that actually looks like. You stop waiting for permission. You stop needing validation from authority figures, from partners, from society. You start making moves because you know they're right, not because someone approved them. You stop fearing consequences, not in a reckless way, but in a liberated way. You realize that you can handle rejection, failure, judgment. You've survived worse. Nothing external can break what you've built internally. You stop performing, you stop trying to be who you think you should be and start being who you actually are. And the wildest part, people respect you more for it. You stop chasing. Opportunities, relationships, success, they start coming to you because your energy has completely shifted. You're no longer desperate. You're no longer proving yourself. You're simply present in your power, and that magnetizes everything aligned with your new frequency. This is the structural payoff. This is what 6 years of Saturnian discipline has been building toward, and once it locks in tomorrow, it doesn't unlock. This becomes your new baseline. Fire and air, how individual action meets collective power. There's something crucial about the specific zodiac signs involved in this sextile that most people overlook. Saturn is in Aries, cardinal fire, the spark of individual initiation. Pluto is in Aquarius, fixed air, the power of collective networks and technological leverage. Fire needs air to burn brighter, air needs fire to create movement. What this means for you, the individual work you've been doing, the solo grind, the personal boundaries, the private discipline, it's about to connect with something bigger. Maybe it's a network of like-minded people. Maybe it's a technological platform that amplifies your message. Maybe it's a movement or cause that gives your efforts meaning beyond yourself. Your sovereignty isn't just for you, it's a building block for the new collective structures being formed right now. And when you step into your power tomorrow, you're not just changing your own life, you're anchoring a frequency shift for everyone connected to you. This is why the universe required such brutal preparation, because what you're stepping into isn't just a personal evolution, it's a systemic one. What happens to those who aren't ready? Not everyone makes it through this portal, and I don't mean that in a dramatic, apocalyptic sense. I mean that some people will feel the pressure of this transit and resist it. They'll cling to the old version of themselves, the old structures, the old safety nets, even though those structures are crumbling. You'll see it in the people around you, the ones who refuse to adapt, the ones who keep blaming external circumstances instead of taking responsibility, the ones who are still waiting for someone to rescue them. And here's the hard truth: you can't save them. You can't drag them through this transformation. This is a self-selected upgrade. The universe is offering the opportunity, but each person has to choose to step through. Your job isn't to convince anyone. Your job is to keep moving forward, to keep building on the foundation you've created, to keep trusting the process that's gotten you this far. Because while some people are resisting, others, people like you, are rising, and the gap between those two groups is about to become undeniable. The next phase, April and beyond. Tomorrow marks the end of one phase and the beginning of another. The foundation is set, the structure is solid, now comes the building. April is going to feel different, faster, clearer, more aligned. The decisions that felt impossible in February will feel obvious. The opportunities that seemed out of reach will suddenly appear accessible. The people who are meant to be in your life will show up, and the ones who aren't will fade naturally. You're entering a phase of momentum, and the beautiful thing about momentum is that once it starts, it builds on itself. Each small win creates confidence for the next bigger move. Each boundary honored strengthens your ability to set the next one. Each aligned choice makes the next alignment easier. But it all starts tomorrow. It all starts with recognizing that the work you've been doing wasn't in vain. It was preparation, and the preparation phase is over. What you need to do tomorrow. You don't need to do anything elaborate. You don't need rituals or ceremonies or complicated astrology. All you need to do is acknowledge what you've built. Take a moment tomorrow, even just 5 minutes, and reflect on where you were 6 years ago, March 2020. Who were you then? What were you afraid of? What seemed impossible? Now look at where you are today. Look at what you've survived. Look at what you've learned. Look at the person you've become. That gap, that's the reward, that transformation, that's the payoff. Not some external trophy, but the internal fortitude that can never be taken from you. And once you see it, once you truly recognize it, everything else becomes clear. You stop doubting whether you're ready. You stop questioning whether you deserve it. You simply know, because you've done the work, you've paid the price, you've earned this. The power shift is permanent. Here's what makes this transit so different from other feel-good cosmic moments. The shift happening tomorrow isn't temporary. It's not a fleeting boost of confidence or a momentary alignment. It's a structural change. Saturn doesn't do temporary. Pluto doesn't do superficial. When these two forces harmonize, what they build lasts decades. The foundation you're locking in tomorrow, it's the base you'll build on for the next 30 years. The competence you've developed, it's permanent. The boundaries you've set, they're non-negotiable now. The power you've reclaimed, it's yours. This is your new floor. You might still face challenges, you might still have growth ahead, but you will never again be as powerless, as lost, as uncertain as you were in 2020. That version of you is gone, replaced by someone infinitely stronger, wiser, more aligned, and the universe is about to start treating you accordingly. Tomorrow, you step into the version of yourself you've been becoming for 6 years. The struggle was real, the reward is permanent, and everything you've built is about to compound. Your hard work is about to pay off, not because the universe finally decided to be kind, but because you finally became unstoppable. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.